We are-ish.
We're not moving.
It says we're live. Got my Jon Snow shirt on. While we drink House Stark. And I got my House Stark socks on.
Ah.
I didn't even know. Alright, let's look at this video and see what color we want this room to be.
Blue. No. It makes it look like it's a ghost story.
Is that you, Priesta?
Green.
Similar to what we already had.
Is that the hot pink?
Not yet. We're not there yet. Red. Red's not bad. I don't mind the red. Hot pink.
Hmm.
Daylight.
Wow.
Not too much for us.
That shows detail.
Yeah, we don't need to see that. We'll go with the warm. We'll go with the Edison.
Okay. One more thing I got.
Did you,
Not yet.
not yet?
Use of red, yellows, and oranges. That's right. She did say that. This is what Shannon suggested for the lighting in here.
Oh, you can turn each one on its own color.
That's what she wanted.
Doesn't look bad.
Doesn't look bad, actually.
I think she knows what she's doing. Yeah.
We'll let her say if she likes it or not. She's the only one watching. How does it look?
Did I really put episode 57 live stream?
Yes, you did.
Oops.
Oh, good job.
We're from the future.
Oops. I'll change it later.
It's not a tumor. To the chopper.
It's not a tumor.
We're from the future.
Alright, there. It's posted in all its incorrect glory.
Alright, let's check these mics. Check it out. Go ahead, Jaime.
This is a microphone test. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Microphone check. 2, 3.
Michael phone check.
Haha.
This is a microphone test. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Microphone check. 2, 3.
Michael phone check.
Haha.
We did it, guys. First time was a charm for all of us.
We got the equipment set up right. That's what it is.
Alright.
That's what it is.
Everyone who's watching right now, give us something to talk about tonight. And go.
And they're typing.
It says SM Hoffman 1115 is typing.
And they're typing.
She is still typing. What is she saying? What could it possibly be? Oh my
4 years ago.
Trebek.
Yes. You can have all of them. Except for this one. I already opened this one.
Oh, we're supposed to talk about no, period.
No.
So, like, birth control?
I guess.
Hysterectomy?
No, it's more like birth control.
Okay.
Definitely not like circumcisions.
What am I presenting again? This is a Dan Wesson.
That is a Dan Wesson 44.
It's a 6 hour.
6 hour, Mark 25. Yeah, just say Mark 25.
Mark 25.
Yes.
All right, let's start the episode. Jay, what do you think?
Sure.
Going live in 5, 4, 3.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jay from the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee, here with another interesting episode.
Episode?
Before we get started, let's present the committee. Like I said, my name is Jay. With me this evening, in the captain's chair, we have the most handsome man, I don't know how you can describe perfect without it being
Using the word perfect?
enough.
Jeez.
But Mr. Universe himself, Captain Tight Pants, co-host and co-founder, the sexiest man alive, Michael J. Cavino.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, he must be talking about me.
Yeah. And across from me, he likes his vitamins. He is Cheap China Al. I don't even know how that got started, to be perfectly honest. But
That
I
was
say I'm a fan.
Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Reverend Al Scarton, co-host and contributor, the man himself, Al.
Thank you very much.
And I am Empanato Jones. Let's present arms. This week, as I disarm my my Shield Smith & Wesson Performance Center 9mm, and as you can see now, it is empty.
It is clear.
I am presenting the 6 hour Mark 5,
25.
Mark 25 P226. And if I can get her up there. There you go. All the way.
That's what she said.
There's no spin on these, which is a real
No,
bummer.
there isn't.
Yeah.
But they're really fast to go and rechamber. And I should say, drop the magazine and reload. And as usual, I have my XDS and 45 ACP. And it is clear and clean.
Yay. Moving right along here to the media in the minutes. I don't have any. Except for the fact that I will reiterate what I said last week. Friend of the show, Tim Cassidy. This is for the local listeners. Is hosting a bacon and bourbon event at the Railroaders Museum, May 25th, 2019. The official time runs from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. General admission tickets are $25. VIP tickets are $45, and the VIP will actually get you in at noon instead of 1. All the ticket prices come with tastings and pairings, I do believe, and then there's going to be other vendors as well. So we are going to keep pumping this for him. He has listed us as a sponsor, I guess, of the event. So
Nice.
he's putting our name out there, so we're gonna put his out there just as fast. So other than that, I really don't have much to talk about except for do you know we have social media?
I had no
Do
idea.
we have?
It's
What
true.
is this?
MySpace.
We do have a MySpace.
We better not.
Okay. I won't say that I created a MySpace page for it. I really did.
I was going to say, I will walk right out of my own house.
We do have a Facebook page, as most of you, for those of you who are watching on our YouTube channel. Hopefully, some of you were redirected here by the Facebook page. We have a Twitter account. We have a Instagram. We have regular email, which is WednesdayNightWhiskey@gmail.com. We have a Reddit that nobody looks at, and that's cool. What else do we have? We have the place for some of the hippest, fresh ass swag that you can ever find.
Tell us more about this.
Yeah, and basically what you do is you go to www.redbubble.com/people/Wed Night Whiskey, and you will find our storefront, which I was all excited. I got an email that said we had a sale this week. Somebody decided to get themselves some fresh-ass swag, and I texted the group message, and I was all excited. I said, guys, we sold one of Mikey's new shirts. And Al says, it was me.
I don't have any.
So that's further proof that we don't get our own stuff for free. We have to buy it, and we encourage you to do so as well. A little bit goes a long way, and it helps us out. And speaking of helping us out, if you would like to continue to help us out, why don't you head over to this little place called Patreon.com. And basically what happens is you go to your your browser there, you pull it up, you type in http //www.patreon.com and /Wednesday Night Whiskey, and you will find us. And basically what it is, it's a donation website where you pledge a dollar value to our cause, and every time we post a show, it makes a donation on your behalf. If you don't think $4 a month helps, you're dead wrong. That we have several Patreon members right now who were solely responsible for this year's hosting fees. They basically paid for our hosting fee for this whole entire year. So, and we're almost up to having it ready to go for next year.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Pretty soon we're going to be making nothing but straight profit here to get
production
some
values
more
up.
production.
Yep.
And hopefully some other cool things that we can essentially directly pass right on to you. So once we already have whiskey in our glasses. Mike's a little anxious here, and I am too.
Well, I did it so we could toast our Patreon members. We're not discussing a new whiskey. Why the fuck not?
All right.
Fuck me, God.
Okay. Hi.
It was an offer.
And I cannot refuse.
Offers off the table.
So, we do have to make an amendment this week. Unfortunately, we lost a Patreon member, and that's fine. No one said you had to stick around the entire time, but you should absolutely stick around the entire time.
It was very nice of them to stay contributing as long as they have.
Absolutely.
Especially considering
The circumstance.
Well, not just that, but like I don't really know the individuals. We have nothing in common with their particular podcast. So there was no overlap. It wasn't a malicious unfollow. It had run its course, and
yeah. And so we're gonna toast those lovely folks here in a moment. And I think that's we have a coffee site, but whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck that place. So let's raise a glass right now.
What are we drinking
this week? As we mentioned before, we're not going to be doing anything new. Since in lieu of Jason's absence, we're not going to try to rate something. We tried that once when Mikey wasn't here with the Sazerac rye, and it just ended up being too much of a hassle. So we're really not going to do it until Jason comes back. So we have brought back the special edition Game of Thrones House Stark Dalwhinnie Winter's Frost Highland Single Malt Scotch Whiskey. And by God, it smells delicious. So let's raise a glass.
Can you just mention the fact that I matched my socks to our Scotch?
He absolutely has. And if
I don't know how to pick it up.
If you think we're kidding, we're not. So
also my shirt, Jon Snow.
With that, whoop.
Yes.
Wow.
I gotta finish watching it. Anywho,
one episode left. I digress. Let's toast these patrons.
Let's do it. We have from the beginning Scott Knoll. We have Rick Works. We have Ryan Weaver. We have Mario Ciccarella. We have Jeremy Nixon. We have Tim High. And
the lovely.
I would be remiss if I neglected to mention this teal-haired beauty. The lovely Shannon Hoffman. And we bid adieu to the Cosmic Roadshow. They are no longer part of our list, but like we said, there was no malicious parting. It just has run its course. So thank you for those of you who are still here and those who have come and gone. We greatly appreciate everything you have done for us.
And to our new Patreons, whenever they shall join.
Yep.
Cheers.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a good scotch.
Mm.
Welcome back.
Yeah. I hope because it's on my to-do list, just getting the regular Dalwhinnie, the 12-year. I hope it's as good as this.
Speaking of Patreons, do you want to mention the link that Al sent? In case any Patreon members are interested, I believe there's at least one place that has the Game of Thrones scotches back in stock.
Oh, yeah.
And we are a couple short of completing our trip of Westeros. So
yeah,
if anyone wants to, we've had a couple donations in the past. If you want to, I don't know, throw us a couple bucks so that we can
whiskey.
Whiskey World.
Same difference.
Yeah,
without the E. Yes.
Yeah, if you, Jay will post the ones that we don't have, but I believe we did Stark. Obviously, we did Targaryen. We did Lannister, Tully.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
We've had 4.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had the Singleton, the Dalwhinnie, the Cardew, and the Lagavulin.
Okay.
So
All right.
Just wanted to mention that, and that'll do it. So that effectively
puts a cork in this week's episode.
I was going to say we need Oban.
We need the Oban, and then there's other ones that I just can't pronounce.
The Talisker.
Yeah, the Talisker.
House Greyjoy. House, was it Baratheon? Baratheon. The Royal Lochnar. And House Tyrell. Which now I'm not going to even try to pronounce that one.
Let's do it. Let's see what we got here.
The last 4.
Yeah, Clenelish.
Lochnar.
Talisker. Do we have a Talisker?
No.
We had
Talisker.
Yeah, we didn't have the Game of Thrones.
That's right. Okay. And then Oban.
Yeah.
The Night's Watch. We can get our hands on that one. I'd be very interested.
The Night Watch?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we actually don't have any sort of real focused game plan or topic discussion. It has happened before in the past, and they've actually turned out to be some of my favorite episodes. We kind of have 2 points that I guess we're going to talk about, for sure, but if the Whisketeers that are watching have any kind of topic that they'd like us to talk about, please let us know. My boy, my son, as I call him, as he calls me Dad, Dylan, the guy I work with, I said, yeah, we're winging it tonight, man. He goes, oh, you're winging it? I said, yeah. He goes, you should talk about wings. And I went, you're funny.
See what you did right there.
But then we actually sat here and discussed wings for a minute. So it posed an interesting question. Do you get your wings with sauce or without sauce? Sauce on the side.
Sound off in the comments too about this, because I'd be interested in hearing.
Because Mikey says
I'm in the minority of this room right now, which is mind-boggling.
I agree with you, but go ahead. Start with your point.
I cannot eat a dry wing with sauce added to it. I have to have them bathed in a sauce. It has to happen. Now, that being said, I'm not a big fan of taking them to go or having them delivered, because I do believe that they get a little soggy, but it's never stopped me from eating them. It's just I've noticed a quality dip. Generally, I will order my wings well done so that they are still crispy if the sauce does retain or cause too much moisture. But I cannot do the whole dip or pour it on myself because I just feel like it does not coat the wing to the specifications that I want. I think it's something to be said with pulling them out of the fryer, tossing them, and then serving them, not just pulling them out of the fryer, letting them cool, not then put your sauce on them.
Well, see, now I agree with if I'm at a place that I've had their wings and I know what the sauce types are, because a lot of people, we have a local bar. It's from State College and it's also in Altoona. It's called Champs, and they give things different names. When I go in there, I order my wings Arrogant. That's their medium sauce. It doesn't give you a whole lot to go on until you try it and you know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to know the wing type, then I'll let them put it on. And B, I have to be eating them there. If they're to go, I always get the wings plain and then have the sauce on the side. To me, I'm a huge ketchup eater from way back. And
I am too.
But as far as adding,
you guys can fight down.
I own a shirt that says I put ketchup on my ketchup.
We're about to have. There's about to be a knife fight here, ketchup fight here right now.
I dip my potato chips in ketchup, my mashed potatoes in ketchup. Anyway, go on.
You're weird. No. No. But as far as my ketchup use, I don't. I don't mind. Coating something extra. So to take a bite of something I'm not sure of, and then finding out, oh yeah, I really like the sauce, and then double, triple dipping till that wing is done and go to the next one. Either way, but if I do, like I said, if I do know the product, I do know the restaurant, I do know the wing type, or I should say the heat of the sauce, I'll prefer to have it coated. But that's,
Yeah, I'm naked all the way right now.
You are, and I must say.
And here's another question. I totally like my wings dry. I want them cooked so much that they shrink, in fact, but there's no moisture left in them. I basically want chicken jerky.
See, I can't do that.
And that's what I kind of like. That's what I get in on, dipping the sauce in and that kind of deal. I actually don't like wings when they're super juicy. That kind of throws me off.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, see,
they gotta have. Yeah, they can't be dry.
I mean, I'm okay with having a little bit of moisture to them, but for the most part, if they're dry, that's even better. Just keep them coming.
Yeah.
But no, I like the dip because I like to have.
You like to put the sauce right where you want it.
Well, yeah.
You don't like your fingers dirty.
No, I don't.
That
also brings up another point: is how do you eat your wings? Do you 2-finger corn on the cob?
Oh.
Or do you does it matter? Do you just grab willy-nilly?
I eat them correctly. So first of all,
correctly.
I'm not a drumstick guy. I don't like the drumsticks.
I don't like the wings.
We would be perfect. We should date.
All right, you're handsome.
So I eat the actual wing, and the correct way to eat them is to separate the bone from the wing.
So you're using both things.
You break it in half,
and
then pull the small bone out. And then you just have a corn on the cob of meat. Because there's two bones. There's the big bone and the small bone.
Right.
You break the small bone off, pull it out, then you just have nothing but meat and bone. And you don't have to fight around that molten skin that's stuck to the leg, like I said, on just a regular wing. It just goes nothing but skin and meat.
Here's a question, you, because this is all ties together. Oddly, just follow me around the room. Do you eat the fat on steak?
Yes.
See, I don't. And that's another thing. I can't. People I've had a family member at one point. They tripled and cooked, baked the wings, fried the wing, baked the wing, and then do something else to the wing. So essentially, all you have to do is put it in your mouth, hold on to the bone, and everything slides off at once. I'm like, how can you do that? Because sometimes you get that wing that's got the gristle chunk at the end, and
So you don't get that as much on the wing. You get it a lot on the legs.
Yes,
but
see, I like
the drumstick.
I like the leg, the drumstick, because I don't have to touch it.
Right,
aside
and
from
that makes sense if that's
it.
one of your biggest things. Not for me. Just give me a roll of paper towels.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
See, I always Pick the
See, I
right
don't
hand,
even like
and
to
left
get it on
hand's
my
drinking
face.
hand, or French fry hand, and right hand is wing.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not afraid.
No, which is totally like on the opposite. Like, I'm a fan of Chipotle burritos, and the way I get my
Empanada?
burrito, because I don't like beans, so I get no beans and double rice. And there's no attractive way to eat that. Like it literally comes out the size of a brick and weighs about 4 pounds. And I'm okay with two-handing that baby and just smashing my face into it. But you give me like a sauce that's sticky, and I'm like, oh, no, I can't do this.
Speaking of Chipotle, I want to let our listeners know a little life hack that I learned very recently and have tested and confirmed this nice little life hack from Chipotle. If you are like me and you go to Chipotle, well, it doesn't really matter what you get. If you get the burrito, if you get the bowl, whatever you get, I get a bowl, but I usually get chips from Chipotle, and I'll get like a side of sour cream too. But most of the time, I'll dip my chips into my bowl. Chips are extra.
Mm-hmm.
You got to pay extra for those. I learned recently that you can get, if you get a bowl, or if you get a burrito, mostly if you get a bowl, sometimes you can ask, well, always you can ask for a tortilla on the side, but you can also ask for hard shell tacos on the side. And our hard shell taco shells are the same thing that they use to make their chips. So you'll get 3 hard shell tacos, just the shells on the side, for free.
If you ask.
So if you are interested in the chips from Chipotle, but you don't want to shell out the cash, ask for hard shells on the side, and there you go. You just life hacked.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's me. I'm a frugal boy.
What is your burrito of choice?
I get a bowl. I'll go down the list.
Go good. What do you get?
I get a bowl to go. Can I have a bowl to go, please? Yes. Can I get white rice? Can I get pinto beans? I will take steak and chicken. Always ask for half and half because they'll mostly always give you a portion of both. Another life hack there. So half chicken, half steak. And then I will get the hot salsa and the mild salsa. Mm-hmm. I will get corn. I will get sour cream, and I will get cheese, and I will get a side of sour cream.
Wow.
You like to poop.
I love pooping. It's my favorite thing to do out of my butt.
I pooped today. That's the next shirt you're going to find on the Redbubble.
My favorite thing to do out of my butt is to poop.
I stroll in, and I'm like, I need a burrito. And they're like, white or brown? And I go, white. Double, please. And they look at me, and I go, because I'm not getting beans. And they go, oh, okay. So then I get the steak. Mm-hmm. I got to get my steak, the barbacoa. Then I get, like you, I get the hot salsa. I get the mild salsa. Essentially just because it's like a pico. It's more just finely diced vegetables than it is a salsa.
The mild?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how you're getting your vegetables in it if you want vegetables. But now I've started to add the fajita peppers to it.
Yeah, onions and peppers. Not interested.
Yep. So I get that. Cheese, lettuce.
No corn.
No corn.
What's wrong with corn?
I don't like to poop corn.
Why?
Because I don't want to look at it.
Well, don't look at it.
You don't have to look in the bowl.
That's true.
Well,
Al, what's your Chipotle order?
I've only been to Pacholi.
I've only been to Pacholi.
I've only ever been there once. And I did order a bowl, but I could not tell you what I had. It was probably the steak, probably not the corn.
Speaking of Pacholi, as everyone knows, I've had some pretty serious issues with my back, and I am at the point now where I'm just trying everything. Whatever people say to me, everyone thinks they're a doctor. Mm-hmm. If you've ever had anything wrong with you, everyone's a doctor. So
sure.
Did you ever do this? Did you ever try this? So I've had multiple people tell me you should try CBD. And
CBD?
It's diet weed.
Basically, but it's in everything now.
Yeah.
And they sell
you can go to Rutter's and get CBD shit.
Yeah, CBD lemonade. But everyone has said to me, try the CBD oil. It'll help you. It'll help with your pain. And like I said, I'm just in pain 24/7 now, so I'm just like, whatever, I'll try anything. So Shannon was able to get some, and it was like legit stuff, which, I mean, you can get it, like you said, anywhere, but to actually have the real strong stuff. And I tried it. First of all, if you're from the area and you're familiar with this store, Transfer Junction, that's exactly what it tasted like. It tasted the way Transfer Junction smells.
Well, actually, for those of you who are in the know of what we're talking about, Transfer Junction has actually been the fine wine and good spirit store for the last 6 months.
That's true. That's true. So I tried it, and absolutely nothing. It didn't help me 1 minute of helping it relieve anything. So I'm convinced that it's kind of snake oil at this point.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I really think it was just a marketing scheme to get to get white people to try to get hooked on weed.
Well, yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's
I mean,
it's like you said.
No, really, what do you mean?
It's diet weed. I mean, just
it's weed light. It's half the weed.
Yeah, but you don't get anything out of it.
Well, that's.
I've had it. I think, like, you know, because I don't smoke anymore.
Was that no?
No, I didn't say anything. A few of the guys at work have had CBD in their vapes before, and
what happened after I left? Just hipsters all over the place.
Pretty much.
A couple of guys at work had CBD in their vapes. Never would have thought that I would hear that sentence about that.
Oh, they pulled it out of their fanny
Tom
pack.
Jagel pulled out his vape pen. That was never a thing whenever I was there.
It's more like his EpiPen, man. And I've had it, and I was, you know, even like you figure, I mean, hell, you hit some good weed once, and you can feel something. And I thought, oh, that's all I'm going to need. So, like, guy I worked with, Lucas, you know, and sat there, waited, still waiting. I'm like, well, this is dumb. If you want to, just smoke the fucking weed. I mean, yeah, sure, it's illegal, but whatever. I mean, because even like, I mean, I'm not going to go into great detail here, but another person I work with, who is into West Indian medicines, we'll say, or
West Indian,
you know, weed. Like his is all cartridge based. Like, again, it's putting it into a vape pen, but it's straight THC. It's not CBD. So I mean, and you know, he jokes about it, like, this is the future drugs of right here. It's just all in weed. You know, we call them weed pens.
Well, I did hear that they're bringing. I guess they're going to table an amendment that vape pens are going to have a legalized age, just like
which I thought they did.
No,
I think they should. One of my good friends in California is a ER doctor, and he said the amount of people that you see come in with vape pen related incidents is astronomical, because people will get 3rd-degree burns and worse in their lungs because they'll just hit it too hard, or they'll make it too hot, or do whatever. Mm-hmm. They're just not responsible about it because they don't realize that this is just as harmful. It's just a different type of harm that you're doing to yourself. And people aren't responsible, period. No matter what, anything that should be like alcohol, cigarettes, whatever, that you should use responsibly, people don't. And it's not going to change.
Yeah, I honestly thought that because I was doing some research into it, and I thought, like, yeah, as far as the CBD stuff, I think you had to be 18 to purchase it. But
the vape pen itself,
by itself, I thought it would have had an age
It's
restriction.
just water vapor, but you can't buy nicotine refills. Anything that has nicotine in it, you can't buy it unless you're under 18 or over 18.
Okay.
Because just the flavored vape or whatever, it's just like hookah. It's basically just flavored water.
Right. Huh. I learned something. What?
What?
Sorry.
What was your other thing you had that we were going to discuss? I don't remember.
Oh, you had said about the Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah,
documentary.
So they had the documentary, which I have yet to see, the Finding Neverland. But I guess it was pretty eye opening as far as some testimonials, which I have to do some more research because I did see something pretty recently that one of the individuals that gave a testimony kind of fudged his timeline up. Um, the whole documentary says that he was a minor when he was with Michael Jackson. And then something about they did construction when he was at Neverland. They had finished construction on something when he was a child, but then it turns out that construction didn't end until that kid was like 17. So if the timelines added up, he wouldn't have technically been a minor. That doesn't make it any better or worse.
Right.
It just kind of fudges that individual's timeline up. But the reason I kind of wanted to discuss it is because for me personally, it's, and I like his music, but it's harder. Yeah, it's harder for me to listen to it now, knowing these things. And you always had that kind of assumption that shady shit was going on. You don't just have sleepovers with children when you're a grown adult, but he was pretty fucked up mentally. So I mean, his dad did a number on him to the point where I could kind of buy the whole maybe he's just trying to relive his childhood thing. Maybe he isn't actually diddling these kids. But as it turns out, according to the testimonials, there was more behind the curtain. Can't really, I don't know. For me, it's hard. It's hard for me to respect the music as much now, knowing what I do about the person. That being said, I don't turn it off when I listen when it comes on, but I don't actively seek it. It's just hard. So I was just wondering what you guys thought about the whole thing.
Me personally, I mean, you're right. Growing up in that era, I mean, he was the king of pop and still is. And everything, I mean, he had the trials where he had to prove that he had scars and whatnot, or it's, I don't know how to describe it. It's one of those, to me, and probably a lot of people of my age, that yes, we accepted that he was California. Oh, not he was different. I shouldn't say California. He was definitely different as far as the rest of us, but he was also a musical genius.
True.
And it was one of those, a lot of times where you do have geniuses, there is something that's off kilter about them. Whether they have to have everything in completely everything has to be completely right, or everything has to be a complete mess, or there's something that's always off about them. So it was one of those, okay, well, his part of being a genius is wants to have little kids around all the time and have sleepovers. Yeah, that's weird, but damn it, when's he coming out with his next album?
Yeah.
It is an unfortunate thing, but I did grow up enjoying his music. I still listen to his music. I'm the same as you. I don't actively seek it out anymore, but I'll listen to it when it comes on, and I still enjoy it. But yeah, it to me, yeah, he is a, I guess you want to say, a pervert. I mean,
a pedophile.
Yeah, pedophile.
That's what I mean. That's what he is.
I also haven't seen the movie.
Yeah,
but I did hear a lot of talk about it. But it isn't fair. I mean, just to go off of what I heard, I mean, versus what the other people are saying versus actually seeing the movie.
Well, now, obviously, with any documentary series, anything that does any type of that type of thing, they're going to pick one side and try to push that side. So
it's all a
somebody.
And
somebody's paying for it, and that's right.
He's passed away, so there's no. I mean, obviously, his family and friends are there.
There's no counterpoint,
but it's really hard to paint him in a good light when everything. The point of the documentary is to show him in the other light. But it's just really tough when it comes to that subject matter because I mean, look at the Catholic priest scandal.
Oh yeah,
same thing. I mean, it's what they've been doing and had swiped under the rug for years. But I don't know that I could just be like, Well, I don't like that they did that, but I'm still into the whole Catholicism thing.
But
if I were a religious man, that would turn me off from it.
I mean, I do agree with you there. I will make the counterpoint as far as Catholicism and all the priests that aren't allowed to marry within the Catholic Church. I mean, it's one of those. Yeah, it sets itself up just for that, and it's still going on today. I mean, they're still having more things coming out today.
Mm-hmm.
So
just let them have a girlfriend. But what's so bad about it?
Tradition. At this point, it's basically just
the church is supposed to be.
They're farming pedophiles.
Well, that's it's
that's the flip of the
that's
coin.
The fact there.
Yeah. So it's like, you think we should let them have girlfriends now, or like masturbate or something? Because all we're doing is just making ourselves look bad.
Yeah.
You'd think.
Well, it's sort of beyond
isn't
that.
The definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over
expecting
again, expecting a different outcome?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into a religion show right now.
Well, we already lost the Cosmic Roadshow, so we might as well.
Yeah, whatever. As far as my take on the whole thing, like I never actively seeked out his music in the first place. So, like for me, I'm like totally. I don't want to say that I'm indifferent about it because I'm not. I'm not trying to say that. Oh, I don't care what he did because I don't care. I mean, you're a fucking pedophile. You should be shot in the forehead. But at the same time, it's like I'm not gonna let someone's personal life affect how I view them as. Let's say that they're an actor or a musician or a athlete or whatever. That's not going to make me not like them as that person.
So I get that,
but you take that away and it's like, well, you're still garbage.
See, now to an extent, I agree, but this is the line. I think this is the line,
right?
Because one of my favorite artists who does Magic the Gathering card art, something just came out recently on Twitter. Someone dug through her history, as they do on Twitter these days, and saw that she's like a huge like InfoWars, Alex Jones like type person, which is to say insane.
Sure.
And to me, it didn't make me dislike her art anymore. I unfollowed her page because I don't need to see retweets and things like that about crazy shit, but I'm not going to dislike her art anymore.
Right.
That being said, there's a difference between being insane and fucking children up forever.
And I'll give you that. Like you said, that's where the line is, and I totally agree with you. But I'm not going to, I'm still going to stand here and be like, Smooth Criminal is one of my favorite songs of all time. That's not going to change that fact. But, so I don't know. Like, for me, it doesn't paint him in a different light because I've kind of always thought that that's what he was doing anyway.
Sure.
Which,
but
it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it as what it is.
It just confirms it.
Yeah.
So does the confirmation adjust things to you? And to me, it does. To you, it doesn't.
Well, on this matter, yeah, I guess. I want to say that it does. But like, I was never into it as deep as, let's say, you two guys, because like you like his music, or used to, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
On a more of a whole, than I'm like, yeah, I'll take those 3 songs, and if I never have to hear anything again, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like that whole shit when Tiger Woods was chased his wife with a club or whatever.
Actually, it was
or whoever. You know what I mean? Like that didn't, like, a lot of people were like, it was a trash player. I'm like, he's still the best golfer around.
Yeah.
And then he quit taking the drugs, and
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't care that he took drugs. You still have to do those things. I mean, does it make it easier? Sure, it makes it easier, but it's no different.
He hasn't performed since.
I still like the dude.
I'm not saying he's a bad dude. Actually, well,
he's still my favorite golfer.
Actually, I do have a pissed off moment whenever he won his last Masters, and he was up in Canada, and somebody asked him because the playoffs were about to start, and he said, "Hockey, they still play that," and it was just one of those. When I saw that comment, I just lost respect for him. Yeah. That was I don't know, 15 years ago. But yeah, he was at the top of his game whenever he came out with that.
But you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I mean, if for me, it did nothing but confirm the fact of what I already believed about him in the first place. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd be interested to hear what the listeners think too, as far as Wings and Michael Jackson.
Wings and Dings.
Wings and Wangs.
So that's the episode title. Wings and Wangs. What did we just do?
I'll give us something to talk about.
Okay, well, hey, since we're on children,
oh God,
oh boy, let's clarify. That was him that was on the children, not us.
As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be a veterinarian for a while, and then I was old enough to realize that not only would you have to deal with animals that didn't want to be there, but also you'd have to put animals down. So it wasn't just the
cute whole, animal that
help animals type thing.
And speaking of which, we could raise a glass to my
King
cat.
Fats.
My cat today, Fatty Two Fats, officially crossed the Rainbow Bridge this afternoon. She was put down.
Aw,
so
poor kitty.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a kindness, really, at this point.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened to a few of us.
It's going to happen. Too. Yeah. It's going to happen to us.
And that's just something that I don't think I could do. I just couldn't. As much as I love animals, I believe that I have animal magnetism. I don't think that
you do have animal magnetism.
Thank you.
I've known that for a while.
Captain Type Hands.
You don't know about the back room of the Emporium.
The room marked pirate.
I think
oh, jeez.
That got taken down.
For me, like I don't know as far as like when I was a kid, but like my first full
last week.
Yeah. My first full conscious thought, was I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be a musician for as long as I can remember. Even as a youth, and when I got into high school, I kind of almost felt because I was okay at it, go into something in the art field. But then I realized that I didn't want to work in something that I enjoy. I didn't want what I enjoy to become work.
And lose its touch.
To lose why it was special and important. And looking back, like I totally could have, because I don't do hardly anything with it now. For me to actually pick up and sit down and go, I'm gonna draw something. I couldn't tell you when the last time that happened. The musician thing is always something that I've always wanted to do, and I don't know. I guess I could say that I am successul. I am not, that I still have to work a day job. That's the goal. I'd like to play music without having to have a day job. But
hey, speaking of music, just as a real quick aside, what if like someone who was listening had a family member or friend that wanted to get into playing the bass guitar? Do you have any advice for them?
I mean, how would they learn?
What would they do?
Oh, see what you did there. You come see me.
Why would they? What do you mean?
I decided I'm going to start getting bass lessons.
Okay. So they can contact you, Jay Smith.
Yep. If you have any way to get a hold of me, you can call the Emporium if you'd like to. I'm dishing out my knowledge, which hopefully is good. So
I'll vouch for him.
Thanks.
If I wanted to learn bass guitar, I mean, I already don't get chicks, so.
So he can't teach you that?
You fucker.
No, I'm telling you. So as far as
what did you want to be when you were a child?
Whenever I remember where it occurred, St. Joe's in Portage, the Catholic school. We were outside playing, and I was never very athletically inclined. So I was always picked last, and whenever I was waiting to be picked for whatever the particular game was, it just dawned on me that my grandparents on both sides of my family, it's what I wanted, what they had. They were both very loving relations. Not that my mother and father weren't in love with each other, but of course with me and my sister, the bitch, and that's a Patreon story if you want to hear more.
That's Al's Patreon.
Yes,
story.
Yes, there we go. I got a Patreon.
That, you better pony up.
But they had to take care of two teenagers, whatever, and the daily life grind. But my grandfather Farron, I mean, he had he put in his time in the mines, and he worked as a bartender, and he's finally retired, and he just tends to his crops at his house, and it was just such a simple life is what he finally got to the point of that. Yeah, that's I want that. I want to get up and just tend to the field and bring in the bring the produce in and cook supper and read the paper and go to sleep, and tomorrow get up and do the same thing. So it was sort of being a farmer. And to that point, now I live in Evansburg, and I do have a raised bed in the backyard that I plant my grandfather's garlic. And every year I've been doing that ever since 2 years before he passed away. I got some of his garlic and started growing it. And so I guess in a way I did get my wish.
There you go.
I'm living that dream of, I don't know how old I would have been back then, 8. Yeah.
And I hit a squirrel the other day when I was driving, so I'm kind of putting down animals. So
yeah.
We did it.
you're awesome. We all.
And you drew a bat the
Yeah.
other night for your children, so you're still drawing.
Sure did. I like to say one of my favorite quotes regarding that question. Oddly enough, we were listening to the Beatles today, and I've read this. I don't know what I read it on, of course, online, and it said that as a child, a teacher asked John Lennon what he wanted to be when he grew up, and John replied, "I'd like to be happy." And the teacher said, "No, you don't understand the question." And John replied back, he goes, "No, I don't think you understand the question." And I was like, God, I wish I could have been that cool to come up with that kind of answer, So yeah, it's always goes back to the oh boy, dead boy Gino. It's all right, bud.
You might have to go potty. Keep talking. Give us another topic, Al. Wow.
So we're talking about food before.
Yeah, I like food. I'm a fan.
So whenever you order food, what do you typically order to drink with it?
These are for me, water, no lemon.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow, you're boring. Love you. It really depends on where I'm at, I guess. My first choice is always sweet tea. And if there isn't sweet tea, I see what kind of soda products they have. And then I usually find something in the soda world, if not tea.
You don't go for a beer. You don't go for scotch. You don't go for wine.
I just assumed when you said order a drink, you said food.
But you're right.
Usually, if I'm going out to eat, I can barely afford the meal itself, let alone tacking
so
on.
It's gonna
let alone tacking on $12 for a good scotch. But that being said, like when I go to my shows and stuff now, like I pretty much don't drink beer anymore ever. I usually only drink whiskey now.
Yeah, it's that you're a whiskey snob. Yeah.
Yeah, as to where I used to, drink anywhere between 6 to 8 beers in a show. That now I'm only having a double of whiskey, and that's all night. Like I'm not going back for doubles and triples or whatever. Because one, I don't want to have to deal with, DUI bullshit because I like to buy gear, lots of gear, so much gear that it would make you sick. And I don't want to be giving my money to somewhere else when I could be buying gear.
Give it to the state. Yeah.
So, like, I go in, I set up, and the first thing I walk to the bar, and I'm like, can I get hopefully they have them on Macallan. I'll get a double of whatever I'm drinking and a water, and I'll just sip both of them all night long, and that's all. But yeah, if it comes to food, I'm usually not thinking beer or otherwise first. I'm just give me something to drink with the meal.
Yeah, I mean, I'll elaborate. I stopped drinking soda. So before, if I would go out, maybe I'd get a soda, but I stopped drinking soda. So I just drink water. Cheaper, and I like it. So can't really beat that.
Did you give up the LaCroix life?
No.
No?
I have a soda stream, so I make my own, but it's the same thing. I'll still treat myself every once in a while, but...
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Yeah. Now, for me, it's completely where I'm at. I mean, if it's at McDonald's, it's just going to be a diet, whatever. If it's at a bar, like whenever I come out and I see Jay, whenever he plays, my wife and I go out and see him.
Which, for all you local listeners, this Saturday at the Aviation Inn in Duncansville, Pennsylvania.
Good wings at the Aviation.
Yes, they do have good wings.
That's the best. I love going there for wings.
Uh-huh. And just get there early because it's small.
Yes.
Small.
It's very small.
SMall, small.
It's intimate.
Yes.
That's musician for small.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so it really depends on if it's at home. It can be anything. It can be beer, it can be wine, it can be scotch, it can be bourbon. If I'm out, it's either a diet soda or unsweetened tea. Unless it's a bar, and then it's once again whatever tickles my fancy at the moment.
Yeah. What else you got? Hit another one.
All right, here we go.
Spin the wheel again.
Spin the wheel, and the Wheel of Fortune says, "What is one of your favorite words or phrases?"
We've kind of discussed this before. One of the lists. What was a favorite word?
Favorite word.
Let's do phrase. And I'll go first because I purposely say it wrong. And I have had people correct me before, and I go, I know it's choice. The saying is, it doesn't matter. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yes.
I always say it's 6 of one. I can't think of what it is, but it's 6 of one.
Baker's dozen of the other.
It's 6 of one, 6.5 dozen of the other, or something. Like I don't know what it is, but I purposely say it wrong, just to see if anyone's actually paying attention. And a few people have caught it, and I go, I know it's a choice. But that's one of my favorite. 6 of one, 1.5 dozen. Yeah, God, it's going to drive me nuts.
He's going to be about to go to bed. Damn it! Now I know what it is.
A phrase that I use more internally than externally, but I still use it externally, was one that my grandfather used to say all the time.
6.5 of one, half dozen of the other.
Cool.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll continue now.
I had to get it out.
I don't believe you just cut Michael.
I would have died.
Okay. It was a phrase that he used to say all the time. And I don't know that it was so much as I believe that he meant it, but it was to kind of get us in the right mindset. But he would always say, don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff. Mm-hmm. So when you look at that in perspective, in the grand scheme of things, whatever's going on right now, however bad you have it, someone has it worse. So he just would always say, like, if I was feeling down about something, he'd say, don't sweat the small stuff because it's all small stuff. And when he passed away, that's what my dad kind of kept telling me, just to keep me in the right mindset. He would just tell me, like, hey, it sucks right now, but it's going to get better.
Don't sweat the petty things and don't pet the sweaty things.
Oh, whoa.
Flower, I still pet you.
Yeah. Yeah, what was it from Sandlot? It's the only one I can think of that I've been using most of this year anyway. You're killing me, Smalls.
Killing me, Smalls.
That's the only one I can think of it so far.
The whole movie.
Yeah. Actually, this kind of pertains to your thought there, Mikey. I don't know why I was thinking about this afternoon at work, but with what you just said, would you rather be a year ago with, you remember a year ago,
daydream about it,
with no back pain, or where you are currently with back pain?
If I had to pick?
Yes.
That's tough, because I'm a firm believer in there's no point in trying to relive the past. Like, if it happened, it happened. But if I had the choice, I would go back then and say, I'm not doing deliveries. I would go back and stop doing that and have my back back. Because I'm not going to regrow the part of my spine they shaved off.
Right.
And I'm not going to regrow the next part that they have to shave off when that happens. So
is that where we're going?
Probably. I'll find out on Friday.
Oh, jeez.
But it's just one of those things where I'm never going to be 100% to where I was a year ago. So yeah, if I had the option,
Well, I kind of meant it in a different fashion. I guess we'll just say, I'll just relationship wise is what I was getting at, and I think it's a pretty easy choice. At least it would be for me.
You mean with the DC, the Demon Cunt?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
If I had it my way, I wouldn't have moved to California. Now, granted, I had a lot of, like, working in the effects industry was amazing.
Sure.
And I wouldn't trade that in for anything. So that's the good, but she's the bad of California.
Yeah.
And I think the bad outweighs the good of that experience for me. So,
but that's what I meant. That's what when I posed the question, like, would you rather go back there and have a better back at this point, or be where you are?
Oh, I would take a fucking handicap at this point. I'd take a wheelchair over that. So,
all right, I was gonna have to shoot you there for a second. I'm like, he is taking way too long to answer this question. Oh, he's not going where I went with it. Okay.
No, yeah, I would take not having back pain, but if it meant having to still be with her, I would take all the back pain.
Yeah.
Give them all to me, all of them.
I didn't mean to dredge up shit, but I don't know why I was just sitting there thinking, I'm putting away.
Yeah, you knew the answer to that.
So. I did. It was a loaded question. So
it definitely was.
I don't know.
Well, we're almost at an hour. Do you have any more you want to do there, Al?
I can click another one.
One more time, and then we'll
roll the wheel one more time.
All right. The big wheel says, what's the biggest regret this week?
Oh, we just talked. Oh, no, this week.
This week.
Ooh, it's only Tuesday.
Yeah, okay. Make it until next Tuesday. Make it a week.
Spin the wheel again.
All right.
That question
the big wheel says, what are some things you should not say at a funeral?
Well, I'll start this one. It's not something that I said. It's something that I did.
Okay.
And it was purely innocent. I wasn't even thinking about it at the time. My grandmother on my father's side, she had passed away, and I never had any real issue with her, so it was whatever. But she had passed away, and I was on my way to the funeral, and just so happens that timing, I have a way with timing apparently. As I come pulling into the parking lot, I do believe I still had my Beretta at the time.
Yeah.
Pull into the parking lot, windows down. I had a system in my trunk blasting Ha Ha, You're Dead from Green Day.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It wasn't it wasn't a conscious effort. It just happened to be that way. And I got out of the car, I looked around, and I went, "What?" And then later I thought about it, and I went, "Oh, maybe that was kind of bad form, but it wasn't. It wasn't malicious, even though it turned out to be terrible."
This one's tough for me. I can't think of anything I did or said.
I think the one that's kind of strange to me, and only because I've recently been to a funeral, so I heard it a lot, is people saying I'm sorry, and that's it. And I understand why they do it, but to me, it's just awkward phrasing.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you were the murderer of the individual at the funeral who passed away, you have nothing to be sorry for. Now you can follow that up by saying like I'm sorry for your loss, or I'm sorry for how you're feeling or how you're dealing with this. But just to say I'm sorry, it's just I don't know. It's
What if you know the person and that's all they say, or they slang term it instead of just hey, sorry. Like for example, well, I don't know if you know this or not, but Eric's grandmother Bucky passed away
I heard
last Sunday.
Yeah.
And this past Saturday was the all-in-one viewing and funeral. And I left work for about 20 minutes or so, went across the street and paid my respects. I went for Rick, Christy, and Eric.
Right.
Because I never met the woman. But like I gave Eric a hug, and I gave shook Rick's hand and gave him the bro hug. And when I got up to Christy, I could see that she was that tired, over emotional, where she's not crying anymore just because she physically can't, but you can still tell that they're upset. And I I hugged her and I was like, hey, sorry, kid. And I gave her a kiss, and I kind of walked up to the casket, stood there for a second, and veered off. Now, if you know the person and it's like that, is that different, or is it just like complete stranger?
I still don't like it.
No,
it's just, to me, there's just better things to say to make it okay. I mean, I think it just
but
depends.
we're
On
not as eloquent as you. I mean,
that might
you're
be true
a
too.
wordsmith.
That might be true too.
That is true. You do have as where I'm a little more eloquent with words when I have time to sit and think and write it out.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm the equivalent of dear poop pee jokes, coming out of my mouth, where you could just like spit whatever, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah. I don't know. I think being present is enough at a funeral for the most part anyway. Although I just had a discussion with my grandfather, who's 96, yesterday, and we were talking, because every conversation I have with him ends up talking about his passing. And it's just like, man, I know it's going to happen. We don't have to talk about it every time I see you. But he's like, I'm not doing a funeral. I'm not doing a viewing, because if you wanted to see me, why didn't you come see me when I was alive?
Yep.
I don't want one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want one at all.
Yeah. Well,
when my brother-in-law, Herbs, passed away 17, 18 months ago, whatever it was, I remember sitting there, overcome. I mean, he and I have sort of been in and out of each other's radars all my young life, and then I end up being married into the same family that he married into, and then the bittersweetness of, he always enjoyed telling the story of, I held you when you were an infant, and now here you are in the room holding my newborn son. It's kind of like a full circle kind of deal. That I'm sitting there. I'm not in the mood. I'm trying to keep myself together, and just all these people coming over, like giving me the shoulder squeeze or whatever. And I'm trying to be away from everybody, and I don't want to deal with it. And finally, I said to Lisa, I said, I don't want this.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like, don't put people through this. Like, sure, put a thing in the paper, whatever, when the time comes. I don't want this at all. I don't care where I am, what the circumstances. I don't want this ever. Yeah. So yeah, that kind of made up my mind for me right there. No matter what the situation will be, I don't want that
at all. I don't think that I do either. But to me, it's as morbid as it sounds, it's similar to weddings where you don't do it for you. You do it for everyone else.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously when you get married, it's for your wife, but it's also for your family members and for your family. Because by the end of it, you're just, thank God that's done.
Yeah.
Whereas with the funeral, it's the same thing. Obviously, you don't get any benefit out of it, but it's for everyone else to kind of get some closure. So it would really, I would put that solely in the hands of everyone who has to make that decision.
Sure.
Personally, I would say don't do it.
Yeah.
But if you feel you need that to get any type of closure that will make it even a smidge easier for you, I say do it.
Yeah. Because I'm okay with the idea of one of my base inspiration / heroes wasn't wasn't a superstar, so to speak, but in the family, my position that I have now in the Rattlers as the bass man, Lisa's father, his brother Dan, passed away, and they asked me they were going to have a memorial jam for him, and they asked me to come play bass, and I said, yeah, sure. And I had never gotten out of it yet. But and then with other people that I have known, there's always been some kind of jam that happens, like, yeah, let's get together and it's not a benefit, but we're just going to remember. I'd be okay with that, that aspect of it, because, well, I've gone to those to help support, whoever, and I'm okay with that, but like, that's fun times. That's sure you might get.
It's more like an Irish way.
Yeah, you get more of you might get a misty eye every once in a while, but it's not like just people standing there somber and like, nah, I don't want that at all. So, speaking of music.
Ooh, segue.
Ooh, yeah.
Segue, Jay.
I did it.
Segue.
I did it. Let's go back to the very first segment that was instituted on the show by the lovely MJC. It has been on our show every time except that one time where I forgot. What are you listening to this week? Let's hear what Al's not listening to.
And then what he is listening to.
I am not listening to, well, no, actually I was listening to kids' music because I had the grandkids before. Dropped them off at your house before I came down. So as soon as got them in the house, got back in the car, put on Sirius, Twilight Zone came on, Golden Earring. It's just like, yeah, crank that up. There's a song that's been around me for a long time. Many people. I mean,
is that what it is?
Twilight Zone, yes.
Okay.
I gotta check out the new Twilight Zone, the new TV series. It was pretty good.
Oh yeah, is it out?
Yeah, it started.
I don't know what album that's on.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Mikey.
I was watching a Twitch streamer the other night, and every once in a while I'll watch streamers who will have music playing, and one of the guys who was streaming had his alternative rock station playing, and all that shows up on the channel is the song name, and I heard this song playing, and I was like, I swear to God, that's CKY, the band CKY, because it just sounded like exact, but something was off, and so I looked it up, and it wasn't CKY. It was a band called 96 Bitter Beings, which is one of their songs. And I was like, well, this is like a homage band. Is this like a tribute band? Someone who is heavily influenced by them. So I did a little more digging and saw that apparently that it's the lead singer / guitarist from CKY, no longer with the band, started his own band that is basically just CKY2.
Without the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I said, there was something off, but it was fine. It made me want to listen to old CKY. So I just started at the beginning. So one of my favorite songs, period, is one of their first songs, which is called Disengage the Simulator from Disengage the Simulator.
We do CKY?
Yeah, CKY. It's an EP from them. I think it was their first EP. but their music.
What's the album?
Disengage the Simulator is that EP. Hope it's on Spotify. It should be. But just listening to them reminds me of that era of my life. Same thing.
Oh, okay. For me, I'll text Jason and find out what his pick is. This week, my pick is one of the earworm that has been in my brain for a while. It's actually prompted me to go listen to the rest of the album, which it's okay. It's a little poppier than what I would usually get into, but I won't try to fight this song. It's too good, and lyrically it's hilarious. My pick this week is Falling in Reverse. The album is Fashionably Late, and the song is called The Bad Girls Club.
I can tell you right now, I've heard 0 of those words in that succession before.
We'll listen to it when we close it out.
Okay.
It's funny as hell. But anywho, like I said, I'll text Jason and find out what his pick is for this week. That way we can keep the playlist running smoothly. And I think that effectively puts a cork in this week's episode. Hope you had fun with this freestyle kind of discussion that we've had this evening.
Yeah, let us know what you thought. Maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
We definitely will.
Yes. There's no doubt. So for those of the, like I said, every week, we appreciate you being here. We really, I don't want to say that we couldn't do this without you, because we could. We started this without you, and we probably could finish it without you. But we really are really glad that you're here. For the Whisketeers that have been here since day 1 to day 455, we thank you. And we can't, again, thank you enough for everything you do for us. With that, I'm done. You done?
Sure.
I'm done.
All right, sweet. I am Jay.
I am Al.
I thought I was done. I'll be Mike.
Okay.
I'm Mike.
We are the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee. Please listen responsibly.
We did it, guys.
Yay!
I am Cheap China Ale.
Cheap China Owl.
I can just see him coming up out of the basement and saying it.
It's a Cheap China Owl.
Should I make this episode 57?
No, make it 56. All right, bye. Shannon, I think you're the only one that's here. Bye.